Hi everyone, this is Ahmedini. In this video I'm going to show you a very important tool that JHipster already integrates with, which you can use for source code quality management or code coverage. This tool will allow you to answer all of these questions. Maybe you have graphs or charts for your business logic. You might also have graphs or charts for your system resources like system CPUs or how much memory or how much disk and all that kind of stuff. But there is also some stats that are it's very important for you, which is the stats of your code. For example, being able to answer all of these questions, like how many lines of code is in your project, how much code is duplicate, how many unit tests are in your code, and so many of these things. So I'm not going to go through all these questions, but you can read them yourself, and I'm going to show you how you can solve this with a tool called Sonar, which is also integrated with JHipster as a Docker. So in our project, if you have a look at the Docker files in there, these are the integrated Docker compose files, and one of them is called Sonar. And if we open that, it uses an image which is called Sonar Cube, and its version is 7.1. It's available in these ports basically. So I'll show you how you can use this tool to monitor your code. If you've released your code, you can just run it as soon as you release it, and then you'll be able to find it. So also JHipster itself uses this tool, which is hosted on the cloud, and I'm going to copy this URL. I'll show you examples of what you could do. So normally what they do every time any of the JHipster team commits their code to the Git repository, what they do is there is a tool, continuous integration tool, that automatically runs this project basically. So let's quickly open this on the browser, and here you can see. So it gives you all these questions, so you can see how many bugs are in your code, and you can also see vulnerabilities in your code, which is security, basically mainly security vulnerabilities, and you can see that it has passed the test. So that means it has excellent, basically, or A grade response from the Sonar tool. Sonar uses a lot of other technologies inside in the background to do code coverage and all that kind of stuff, like Jacoco, and there's a lot of good stuff that you can see. For example, code smells and code. And so if you click, it will also take you deep down, and you can see which parts have the problems. So let's just quickly run one local version of this in a local container. And so what I'm going to show you is how you run this locally, and then you can monitor every time you add a feature or you modify your code. You just run it and see if you have problems in your code. So let's go to the so where we are is actually the root of our project. So Docker compose, and it's Docker we want, and it's the Sonar, and we're going to say up and run it in the background. So what it's doing right now is just going to GitHub, downloading the image that we're interested in, and then it will configure and open those ports that we specified in there. So it'll take a while to run these. So now the image is downloaded for us, and it's also been launched, so we can check that the container is running. So simply let's do docker ps, and as you can see, we have a Docker image container basically running 16 seconds ago. So let's open the browser and see if we can access this via localhost. So this is a new browser, localhost, and I think it's 901. We'll go back and check Docker what port is open to double check. 901, I think it's there. So let's try. So it's starting. It's the first time it's done. It'll take a little bit to prepare itself. So in the meantime, while it's running, let's systems operational, and as you can see, there are no projects that have been analyzed, bugs or something like that. So if we run, it's monitoring our local project. So we need to run and generate the report that it needs to. So the way to do that is we just run normally how we would run our application, which is Maven, and we'll say production basically, and then we clean, and then just to make sure that all the generated artifacts, so everything is cleaned up, and then we do test. It's going to test, so and all you have to do is just Sonar, and then Sonar again, and we run it, and we'll see what it does. So the project runs normally, but at the same time, it starts analyzing in the background as soon as it runs. So this is where it's running its analysis, and you can see that it's going through the files, analyzing one at a time very quickly. So now the project has been successfully analyzed, and you can simply just copy this URL and then paste it on browser. Should be able to see the analysis of our code. So let's just paste it here. And as you can see, it's telling us that our project it has passed. So there are no bugs, no vulnerabilities, but also there is something else that you need to have a look at, which some like code smells and that kind of stuff in here, the analysis, duplicate code in here, we'll be able to see. So let's click maybe one of these. One of the good things I like about it is it tells you how much code you have in there, how many lines of code, like 50k lines of code. So, and it also tells you how much is JavaScript and how much is Java, how much are XML. So let's just click this, and we might be able to get more information, all the files that it's run. As you can see, you can also see a lot of these files, and there's one page of 600 and something files in here, and you can go down in here and see how many are bugs and how many we don't have any bugs. Security, we're fine with that, no problems. So we got PCA, that means we're okay, there's no vulnerabilities. Maintenance here, so code smells. Let's try these ones because of in here we'll be able to tell you what you need to fix in there. And one of the good things about this is it tells you how many of your code has tests. For example, if it has green bar, that means there is also tests that are available for these. It's like fully covered by tests, you see. So how many of your code have tests and how many do not have? For example, the red ones here says no covered by tests, so there are no tests to test these functions. The other thing I'd like to show you is duplicates, for example, how much duplicates. So it's a very good tool that would allow you just to go into your code and then clean it up. Density. One thing I really love is also it tells you the comments, how much of your code is comments. For example, in here we can tell that how much, it says 5.1% of our code is comments, and the number of lines of comments, how many are directories, how many files are there, how many classes, functions in your code, and statements, lines in the code, and lines of code. So there's blank lines as well, white lines that might not count, duplicate files that could be reused. So there's a lot of stuff that in there, but a lot of these files, they are specific to our projects, but some of them also, because our project extends JHipster project, so some of these, for example, could be entities, profile. So this is a entity generated profile, but this one is administrator TypeScript file, which is the React JS file that JHipster, it's part of the JHipster application in the module. So this is one of the generic modules. So if we click in there, it'll tell us which parts do not have basically tests, and where it has so let's go back to the dashboard. So you can also see issues, you can see meshes that you have in here. A lot of the issues that we're going to have, for example, one example is this. So define a constant instead of a duplicate literal. So the product, what's saying simply is this product has been repeated 3 times, and this is the cache configuration file that comes with JHipster. But every time you generate, so that the entities or the your domain names are cached in here. So you can see this is a JHipster generated code from the entities that we have generated, but this is saying this should not be repeated. This should contain in a constant that you one time you just declare it and define it one time, and then you just reference it from here rather than duplicating 3 times. So there's a lot of good good code practice basically that it includes as well in here. We can even just go down and just to clean up our code, we can just simply go in here, and it's telling us this import does nothing. No one uses it, so it's unused import in your code. It shouldn't be in there, so we just remove it. You don't need it, so you just go back to your code and then remove it and just build it again, and then this number of errors will go down. And when you have none of these, that means your code is up to good standards. So that's actually there's not a lot much I can show you about it. You can just familiarize yourself. A lot of these stuff are self-explanatory. So let's go back um, to the project and see duplications, how much duplications we have. 11%. The code coverage that has been done. So we also have unit tests, 1.k unit tests. A lot of the questions that I've asked here, how many bugs are there, what percentage of your code is comments, and all that kind of stuff can be answered very easily from here. So that's this tool there for you, and JHipster makes it easier for us. So thanks to the JHipster guys. And this is, by the way, this is the JHipster one itself. So the guys also might even need to clean it up. And how long it takes us to get rid of all of these 5 days, to all the things that it has identified. So on the original JHipster code, this is a sample application that if you know the JHipster guys also maintain another project, which is the common JHipster libraries, and then they used a sample Java application just the same way that the one we generated, and then they just post it, put it on their servers, and this analyzes, basically runs easily. So that's it, and our one is here. As you can see how much time we got to fix it, because we have more code. As you can see, it's got 50k lines of code, not something very simple. So that means our project is very big. 50 lines of code actually generated in less than few minutes basically, and all are doing work that is very important.